Hey everyone, Andrew Stormer here, and welcome back to another computer tutorial. And today we're talking optical drives and sound cards. And do you need them all in 2019, 2020, and the years to come? So many things are now digital download these days that if you don't have any CDs, don't have any DVDs, discs, games on discs, programs on discs, you probably don't need one. But if you're like me, I have a lot of discs. I have a bunch of programs on discs, games on discs. I have still a ton of CDs still, and that's when you still want an optical drive in your computer. So the few specs that you need to look at when choosing an optical drive are first the interface. Usually these are SATAs, which are like a lot of hard drives, which you just plug into your motherboard and you're done. Your buffer cache, this is like a cache in a hard drive where it's just the information that it thinks it's going to use right away. And the higher, kind of the better, kind of the faster, but it's not a big deal because the disk can just spin around and it can read it again in a split second. Form factor, these are usually 5.25 inches, which is that external bay in your case, if you do have 5.25 inch externals in your case. And if you don't, then it's not going to fit. So make sure you have external bays in your case if you are going to put an optical drive in there. And capability, this kind of summarizes all this stuff down here, which is the speeds, and they get more specific and stuff. But basically, do you want it to read CDs, DVDs, or Blu-rays, and do you want it to write CDs, DVDs, and Blu-rays? If you really did want to watch a Blu-ray movie on your computer, you could do it by getting a Blu-ray reader or a writer or anything like that. If you select all of them, you have to double check on this website because sometimes it doesn't always pick up everything. So you can see right here, this is the Blu-ray one. These ones actually don't have Blu-ray capabilities, even though it's selected it there. Where if you went into here, it would make it sure it's right. But I'm not going to get into this because it's super confusing and it can be summarized in this, even though the website doesn't work like that, at least at this point in time. That's pretty much all you need to know with your optical drives, and that if you really did not want to buy a Blu-ray player for your TV, that you can just plug in your TV to your computer and play your movies off of your computer, which I think that's pretty cool. And now for sound cards. Sound cards, do you need them these days? Most of the time, no, because motherboards are so good these days that they produce sound almost just as good as a sound card. But if you're getting into like music making or movie production, surround sound, movie sound mastering or something like that, you might want a sound card. And they do give you other ports that you can plug in to like microphones or different style audio jacks, so maybe that's why you need one. First thing's the interface. These ones plug into a PCI slot like a graphics card, but they're not as big as a graphics card. Second thing's the bit rate. 24 bits is much better quality sound than 16-bit because it has more depth than 16-bit. Sample rate, you can think of like sound's frame rate. And I would say you want no less than 48,000 hertz, and the higher you go, the better it's going to sound. And here, signal to noise ratio, this is SNR, and this is the distance of decibels between your white noise in the background, between your actual sound. So the bigger the gap, the better, because you won't have like that hum in the background. I've had to use a speaker system before that had a really horrible SNR, and you'd be listening to music, but there'd just be this constant white noise in the background, and it was super annoying, and that's why you'd want some bigger gap. And I think 68 decibels is a lot more than the one that I was using that I could actually hear it in. But so it's probably not going to be an issue in the first place if you do get a 68 decibel, but the higher, the more distance there is between that background noise. If you look over here, you also have channels. And for most people, 2.1 is going to be fine because that's your stereo with a bass. There are twos, as you can see right here with this one, that just takes out the bass, so then it's just a stereo system. That's fine if you just have two speakers or you have stereo headphones, but if you have two speakers and a sub, then you're gonna want a 2.1. And if you are trying to make your computer to run like your home theater, like I was saying with your optical drive being able to run Blu-rays and just plug it into your TV instead of having a DVD player, that you might want a 5.1 or 7.1 stereo surround system. And I'll get into more what 5.1 and 7.1 mean in a future video when I talk about headphones and speakers and such. But basically, a 5 means you can have more independent sounds of your speakers, and 7 is even more. So it just depends on whatever system you're plugging it into. And that's it for disk drives and sound cards. It's pretty simple, actually. There's not a whole lot that goes into it. It's pretty much just what you need it to do, and just checking, making sure everything works how you want it to. So that's going to do it for this one. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.